I died. A stress-induced heart attack at my desk, brought on by a toxic cocktail of burnout and too many energy drinks. The next thing I knew, I'd woken up inside the plot of a trashy romance novel, as the heartless asshole of a side character. And of course, I landed right at the climax. The moment the heroine, a secret billionaire's daughter, finally gives up on him and begins plotting her epic revenge. What the hell was I supposed to do? I didn't want to end up bankrupt, drowning in debt, my reputation destroyed, blacklisted from every industry, and doomed to a life of hauling bricks on a construction site. Slap. The first thing I felt in my new life was a stinging palm across my face. I was, to put it mildly, confused. Before me stood a stunning woman in a simple white dress, her eyes bloodshot as she glared at me. Kyle Jensen, I married you when you had nothing. I was with you when you built this company from scratch, through all the hardship. I gave you everything, and you cheat on me. Kyle Jensen? She was talking to me? The name sounded familiar. Slap. Before I could process, another woman, this one in a slinky red dress, hit the woman in white so hard she stumbled and fell to the floor. Olivia, who do you think you are? The woman in red sneered. How dare you point a finger at my Kyle? Two gorgeous, impossibly perfect women were fighting over me. I pressed a hand to my throbbing cheek, my confusion deepening. Just then, a middle-aged woman dripping in gold jewelry rushed to my side. Son, are you okay? She asked, her voice laced with worry. I stared at her blankly. I think so. She whirled on the woman in white on the floor. Olivia Lawson, I never laid a hand on my son his entire life, and you have the nerve to strike him? You're asking for it. She lifted her foot, ready to kick. Mom, wait. I grabbed the arm of this woman, who was apparently my new mother. Let's just talk this out. No hitting. The woman in the low-cut, figure-hugging red dress swayed over and linked her arm through mine, her voice a saccharine purr. Kyle, honey, you're too kind. She hit you, and you're still protecting her. On the floor, Olivia, whose simple elegance was now marred by distress, clutched her stomach. Her face was pale, her voice a whisper. Kyle, help me. My stomach hurts so much. A stain of crimson bloomed beneath her, stark against the white fabric of her dress. Memories that weren't mine flooded my brain, and the horrifying reality of the situation crashed down on me. I shoved the woman in red away and scrambled to Olivia's side, scooping her into my arms. Olivia, hang on. I'm taking you to the hospital. I yelled, striding for the door. Behind me, the woman in red and my new mother stood frozen in shock. Kyle. Just a moment ago, he'd looked at Olivia with nothing but contempt, letting them bully her. Why the sudden, desperate panic? Hadn't he completely moved on? At the hospital, I paced restlessly outside the operating room. I'd actually been pulled into a book. It was insane. I wasn't from this world. In my last life, I was just some schmuck who read novels online to escape. I was a low-level employee grinding away in a toxic 9 to 5, well, more like 9 to 9, 6 days a week. No social life, no girlfriend, no hobbies to speak of. My only escape was binging stories online. Last night, I'd stumbled upon a cliché-filled billionaire romance. The plot was ridiculous, but the more I read, the more I was hooked. I never thought I'd literally stay up all night and read myself to death. When I woke up, I was here. I'd become Kyle Jensen, the story's cruel side character, a self-important CEO whose company had just scraped past an 8-figure valuation. His ending was tragic. After casting aside his wife, her identity as a billionaire's daughter is revealed. Colin's up bankrupt, buried in debt, and blacklisted from every industry. He couldn't even get a job driving for Uber. He was forced into manual labor, hauling concrete blocks for the rest of his life, never able to pay off his debts. To top it off, he learns that the child his venomous mistress, Amber Vance, was carrying wasn't even his. He gets beaten, humiliated. A total disaster. After getting a second chance at life, there was no way I was going to end up even worse off than before. The door to the operating room opened, and the doctor approached me. The mother is stable, but the baby, it's okay. As long as she's okay, that's all that matters. When Olivia woke up, she found me sitting by her bedside, gazing at her with a look of profound affection and a gentle, apologetic smile. Olivia, you're awake, I said softly. Here, have some broth. Let me help you. I held a small cup, blowing on a spoonful before bringing it to her lips. Olivia's gaze flickered with suspicion before her eyes filled with despair. She turned her head away, her pale lips forming the question, how is the baby? I'm so sorry. The baby didn't make it, I said, my voice low, delivering the devastating news. Olivia squeezed her eyes shut, her lips pressed into a thin line. Her face contorted in silent agony as large tears rolled from the corners of her eyes. She looked like she was about to shatter. I'm sorry, Olivia. Please, give me a chance to make this right. I swear I will never betray you again. I will never let anyone hurt you again. Olivia Lawson, the novel's heroine. She had hidden her identity as the daughter of one of the world's richest men to marry the callous Kyle Jensen. To protect his fragile ego, she never revealed her background. Instead, she secretly used her family's resources to help him build his empire from the ground up. A billionaire's daughter? Hiding her identity? Marrying down? Doing the laundry and cooking every meal? It was the kind of trope you only find in the trashiest romance novels. I couldn't even begin to complain about the absurdity. The result? The Kyle Jensen in the book got a taste of success and let it go straight to his head, believing he'd achieved everything on his own. He started resenting his stay-at-home wife, giving her the silent treatment, and allowing his mother to torment her. He brought his mistress home, which directly led to his wife's miscarriage. That was the final straw that made her turn dark and set her on the path of revenge. Olivia pulled her pale, slender hand from my grasp, her expression a mixture of disgust and revulsion. She turned her head, refusing to look at me. Damn it. Of all the moments to drop into, it had to be this one, right after she'd lost the baby and her heart had completely turned to stone against the original Kyle. If I had arrived just a little sooner, everything would have been easier. The foolish, love-struck version of her had been so deeply in love with Kyle, she would never have dreamed of leaving him. But a child is a sacred line for any mother. Having it snatched away by the vicious Amber Vance, with Kyle himself being responsible for bringing the Viper into their home, was unforgivable. The pain of her loss was a fire in her veins. Right now, she was probably already mapping out her revenge. Mr. Jensen, Olivia said, her voice hollow with grief. I'm not good enough for you. Let's get a divorce. Just as I was about to open my mouth to beg for forgiveness, a sharp, scolding voice echoed from the hallway. Finally, we've been looking everywhere for you. Son, say yes. Divorce her. My mother, Brenda, must have guessed I'd bring Olivia to the nearest hospital. She and Amber had been searching room by room in the maternity ward. Now, she stormed over to the bed, pulling Amber along with her. You leech, Brenda shrieked. You do nothing but eat my son's food and spend my son's money. You've done nothing to help him. You should have left him ages ago. Then, she turned to Amber, her expression softening into a warm, affectionate smile. Amber is the perfect daughter-in-law I've always dreamed of. Amber lowered her head shyly. Oh, Brenda, it's too soon to say that. Kyle and I are just friends right now. Watching Amber's masterful performance, I felt my stomach churn with nausea. Amber was just a trust fund kid whose family had slightly deeper pockets than Kyle's new money. She'd noticed that Kyle was handsome and ambitious, with several promising projects in the pipeline. Her real goal was to get close to him and poach his deals. In the novel, Kyle thought he'd found true love and foolishly handed his projects over to her. He had no idea that Amber was sleeping her way through the city's elite, collecting assets from powerful men to claw her way to the top. When a man doesn't have his eyes open, he's just a toy for a master manipulator like her. I stood up, stuffed my hands in my pockets, and fixed a serious gaze on the two drama queens. The only woman I will ever love in this life is Olivia Lawson. I will not divorce her, but if she insists, I pause, my tone dropping into a wounded whisper. I'll agree. I'll give her her freedom. And of all our assets, she can have 70%. I'll take 30, even with a 70-30th split. I'd walk away with at least $6 million. That was more money than I'd ever dreamed of making in my past life. I could quit my job and just coast. If I was careful, it would last forever. My declaration left all three women staring at me in absolute shock. Son, are you out of your mind? Why would you give her the money you worked so hard for? Brenda rushed over, grabbing my wrists and shaking them. She glared at Olivia. She hasn't worked a day in 3 years. She hasn't earned a single penny. What right does she have to any of it? She should leave with nothing. Olivia scoffed, her face a mask of disdain. Oomph. I don't want a dime of your family's money. I'll leave with nothing. I pushed Brenda's hands away. She didn't work because I asked her not to, I said coolly. If she hadn't been home taking care of me, cooking my meals, learning about wellness and nutrition to keep me healthy, handling every single chore, I would have burned out a year ago. There would be no success today. Mom, you should be grateful for what you have. I pointed a finger at Amber, who was dressed like she was heading to a nightclub. Do you really think if I married Amber, she would take care of you the way Olivia has? She's a pampered princess. How can you possibly imagine she'd be serving you tea instead of you serving her? I sat back down on the edge of the bed and took Olivia's hands in mine. Olivia, just don't divorce me, and I promise I'll treat you right. We'll hire a housekeeper, a chef, whatever you want. You can do anything you want with your life. No more sacrificing for me. Olivia looked at me, her eyes filled with a strange, searching expression. She seemed, for just a moment, to be wavering. What? Brenda's eyes widened in disbelief. She looked at me as if I'd mortally wounded her. After your father died, I raised you all by myself. I worked 3 jobs to put you through college, and now you're going to disown your own mother for this. This worthless woman. I was about to lose my mind. Mom, I said, my face a cold mask. If that's how you want to see it, I can't stop you. But even a mother needs to have boundaries. Don't interfere in your son's marriage. Eat well, live well, go shopping, go out with your friends. Isn't that a better life? Don't you know how to enjoy it? Brenda looked like she was about to faint. She stumbled back a step, pointing a trembling finger at me. Who do you think I did all this for? It was all for you. So you could climb the ladder, be somebody, stand on top of the world. What did I do wrong? For me? I shot back. Did you ever once ask me what I wanted? You did it for yourself. You need to learn some gratitude. We went from having nothing to being millionaires. We have a comfortable life. That's more than enough. I don't need to be fabulously wealthy. I just want a peaceful life. Why can't you understand that? Wah! I raised a thankless monster. Brenda collapsed onto the floor, wailing, choosing some girl from the sticks over his own mother. I might as well be dead. A passing doctor and nurse poked their heads in, curious about the commotion. My face was grim. A girl from the sticks? Mom, weren't you waiting tables at a diner not that long ago? Have you forgotten where you came from? Amber glided over and took my arm, her voice gentle and persuasive. Kyle, she's the only mother you have. Are you really going to cut her off? If I married you, of course I'd take care of her. And if I was too busy, I could hire help. I snatched my arm away. Amber, please have some self-respect. I'm a married man. This act makes you look desperate. You. Amber was stunned, her cheeks flushing with shame and confusion. Before, Kyle had silently accepted her flirtations, had dinner with her, laughed with her. Now, he was like a completely different person. Amber feigned hurt, bowing her head as if about to cry. I'm sorry, Kyle. I was out of line. You were more than out of line, I said coldly. You're not just desperate, you're manipulative. You dare to strike my wife in my own home, causing her to have a miscarriage. Are you going to get on your knees, slap yourself, and apologize to her? Or should I call the police right now and have you charged with assault? Kyle, you... Amber recoiled in horror. Even Brenda, still sobbing on the floor, looked up in shock. And don't call me honey, I said with disgust. I don't recall my mother giving me some two-faced, social climbing sister. Now get on your knees and apologize. My voice boomed, and Amber flinched. After a moment of stunned silence, her embarrassment turned to rage. Fine, Kyle Jensen. I am a Vance. I humble myself for you, and you choose this. This nobody from... Slap. I didn't want to hear another word. I slapped her across the face. Amber, I have never hit a woman in my life. Let's hope this is the last time. Sprawled on the floor, Amber clutched her cheek, staring up at me in disbelief. Kyle Jensen, you hit me? You'll pay for this. I'll ruin you. I'll make sure your company is worthless. Scrambling to her feet, she shot me a venomous glare and fled the room. I glanced at the middle-aged woman still sitting on the floor. Mom, what happened to the tears? Are you going to keep crying? We can make the evening news. Let the whole world know what a monster I am. My company's image will tank, our partners will drop us, and we'll go bankrupt. Then we can go back to being broke. Maybe you'll be happy then. Brenda's face went pale with fright. She was speechless. Son, I sighed, exhausted. Having a mother like this was a curse. In the original novel, Kyle's downfall was inseparable from this bitter, cruel woman. She had no class, no grace, and acted high and mighty simply because her son had money, looking down on everyone. Just then, a man walked in, his presence immediately commanding the room. He was tall and impeccably dressed in a black suit, with clear-rimmed glasses framing a face that was both elegant and stern. A dozen black-suited bodyguards followed in his wake. He saw the broken state of the woman on the bed, and his face twisted with fury. He turned and threw a punch straight into my jaw. You son of a bitch, he snarled. You don't deserve her. With that, he lifted Olivia from the bed and strode out of the room. Hey, what's the big idea? Brenda cried, rushing to help me up. I had never been punched in my entire life, and the blow nearly knocked me out. I staggered to my feet, my left cheek screaming in pain, the metallic taste of blood on my tongue. But there was no time for that. I ran after them. Who the hell are you? Where are you taking my wife? As a reader, I knew exactly who this guy was. Olivia's older brother, Leo Lawson, son of a billionaire. But Kyle Jensen had never met him. He didn't know who he was. I had to play the part. As I left, I thought I saw Olivia look back at me, her expression a mix of confusion and concern. Leo Lawson placed Olivia carefully in the back of a black sedan. I leaned against the car window, my acting skills on full display, my voice filled with panic. "Olivia, who is that guy? Are you going to be safe with him?" Maybe I looked ridiculous because I saw Olivia dip her head, the corner of her mouth twitching in a tiny, suppressed smile. I was speechless. This hopeless romantic was amused? Now, where was your pride? You just lost your child. Her expression quickly returned to a cold mask. She stared straight ahead, not looking at me. "Safer than I am with you," she said, each word a shard of ice. The car's engine rumbled to life and it sped away. I kept up the worried husband act, chasing after it for a few steps before letting it disappear down the street. Brenda walked up beside me. "That tramp. No wonder she was in such a hurry to divorce you. She's already found her next meal ticket." I shot a tired glare at my infuriating mother. "Are you serious? You don't even know who that man is, and you're already making things up? So, you what? Am I wrong? You spend your whole day making judgments based on nothing but your own imagination. You don't use your brain at all." Without another word, I walked back into the hospital to get my swollen face looked at. She wasn't my real mom. I didn't have to put up with it. Brenda stood there, fuming and hurt, stomping her foot. But after a moment, she fell silent and followed me. After all, I was still her son. That evening, after dinner, I tried calling Olivia nonstop. Her phone went straight to voicemail. It was turned off, so I started texting, sending a barrage of apologies, begging for another chance. I was genuinely anxious. I didn't want to end up broke and unemployed. Exhausted, I finally fell asleep. The next morning, I woke up and tried calling again. Still off. More texts. After getting ready, I headed to the office. According to the novel's plot, the Lawson family was hosting a major investment gala tonight. All the big players who received an invitation would be there to network. Olivia was supposed to make her grand entrance as the Lawson heiress and announce their new corporate partners from a stage. In the book, Kyle got his invitation through Amber. But after our blow-up yesterday, she hated my guts. There was no way she'd help me now. I figured it was fine if I missed the party. Winning back the heroine was the most important thing. I could just camp out by the entrance and beg for forgiveness when she left. But then, my assistant, Chun, handed me an invitation. It was delivered by a secretary from Lawson Industries. Leo Lawson, Olivia's brother, sent me an invitation. Why? Judging by the way he looked like he wanted to murder me yesterday, it probably wasn't to have a friendly chat over drinks. I kept trying Olivia's phone all afternoon. It was on now, but she wasn't picking up. After agonizing over it, I decided to go. I was walking into the lion's den. Might as well face the music. Let the storm hit. Living in constant fear every day was no way to live, either. At the entrance to the gala, as if scripted by the novel itself, I ran into Amber Vance. As usual, she was dressed to the nines, clinging to the arm of some young guy. I pitied whoever was unfortunate enough to be her new plaything. When she saw me, a sarcastic smile curled her red lips. Well, I didn't know this kind of event, where you have to be worth at least 10 figures to get in, was open to any riffraff off the street. I fired back. What CEO is dumb enough to tell you their net worth? You what? Are you here for the gala? Or to pick a fight? You're acting like a shrew. Be careful you don't scare off the new boyfriend you worked so hard to snag. Not wanting to cause a scene, Amber swallowed her anger and clung to her date's arm, pouting. "You see? He's bullying me." Before her date could speak, I cut in. "Hey man, we're here for a business gala, not a brawl. You're not really going to start trouble for a woman like this right under the Lawsons' noses, are you?" Besides, she started it. The man glanced at Amber, his expression turning cold. "Behave yourself." Amber looked like she was about to explode, shooting daggers at me. Just then, her eyes caught sight of a familiar figure approaching. She froze, her eyes widening. When the woman was standing right in front of her, Amber looked her up and down with a sour, disdainful expression. "Well, look what we have here. If it isn't Mr. Jensen's little housekeeper wife. This isn't the kind of party a glorified maid can get into just by putting on a nice dress and pretending she's a swan." I had just handed my invitation to security and was about to enter when I heard Amber's taunts. I turned and saw that Olivia had arrived. She wore a long, white evening gown, her hair swept up in an elegant chignon, adorned with a simple crystal hairpiece. With just a touch of makeup, her exquisite features and luminous skin seemed to glow. She looked like a princess straight out of a fairy tale. It wasn't just me who was captivated. Amber's date, the security guards, the other guests, everyone was staring. Olivia was naturally beautiful. Even in simple clothes, doing chores at home, she had an ethereal quality. Dressed up like this, she outshone every celebrity in the room. And to think that the original Kyle, blinded by money and status, had started to despise this goddess of a wife because he thought she was useless to his career. One ungrateful, dead-inside scumbag. I immediately walked over to defend her. Amber, did you eat crap for breakfast? Your mouth stinks. Amber's temper flared. Her face flushed crimson. Kyle Jensen, for a man who looks so put together, you have a filthy mouth. I laughed. You don't need manners when you're talking to someone who spews garbage. Right, buddy? I said, looking at her date. She clearly started it, and now she's playing the victim. Does she think we're idiots? You bring her inside, and you're risking her offending someone important and ruining your own reputation. Her date's face instantly soured with disgust. Amber, if you don't watch your mouth, I'm not taking you in. Amber panicked, quickly switching to a saccharine tone. I'm sorry, Mr. Grant. I was wrong. Then she secretly shot me a look that promised war. I smiled and walked over to Olivia. Honey, you're here. A handsome man about my age, standing beside Olivia, gently put a hand on my chest, pushing me back. He smiled politely. Excuse me, please don't stand so close to her. It was the novel's true male lead, Ethan Croft. Ranked second on the global rich list, his family was as powerful as Olivia's, a scion of East Coast old money. He was a good man, principled, and most importantly, devoted and faithful. Olivia had been the love of his life, his one that got away. When she chose Kyle, he had stepped aside without a fight. Now that she was getting a divorce, he was back by her side, ready to cherish her. Amber, of course, couldn't keep her mouth shut. Well, Mrs. Jensen, flirting with another man right in front of your husband. I shot her a death glare, and she immediately shut up. Olivia, who had been silently observing me, now turned her sharp gaze on Amber. Ms. Vance, this is my friend. I suggest you clean up your act. Otherwise, you won't be getting into this party. My friend. I glanced at Ethan, who had a flicker of pain in his eyes, but he said nothing. Since Olivia wasn't divorced yet, their relationship could only be a friendship, at least in public. Amber sneered. And who do you think you are? You say I can't get in, and that's that? We have an official invitation from the Lawsons. In these novels, the rich heiresses were always remarkably patient. Olivia didn't even bother to respond. She walked to the entrance and handed her invitation to the guard. Ethan presented his as well. The guard's eyes went wide. Oh, a black card invitation. Mr. Croft, Ms. Lawson, please right this way. He bowed respectfully, gesturing them inside. Olivia and Ethan walked in, heads held high. A black card? How is that possible? Amber sputtered. She's a housekeeper. How could she get a VIP invitation? She must have gotten it from that man she's with. I chuckled. Amber, were you dropped on your head as a baby? When you don't have something, you just accuse others of faking it. How much do you really know about her? Or her friends? You're here, disrespecting the Lawsons' VIP guests? Are you trying to insult the Lawson family? My words seemed to snap Amber's date to his senses. He pried her hand off his arm and issued a final warning. I'm telling you, once we're inside, you keep your mouth shut, or I will personally have you thrown out. He then presented his invitation and walked in alone. Watching Amber stand there, practically vibrating with rage, I let out a satisfied laugh and strode inside myself. Kyle Jensen, you just wait. Amber seethed, clenching her fists. I'm waiting. I knew Amber wouldn't give up, and I knew exactly how her story ended. I was just waiting for her to self-destruct and end up in a jail cell where she belonged. Inside the lavishly decorated ballroom, the city's elite mingled. Amidst the fine food, wine, and cheerful conversation, I found Olivia talking and laughing with Ethan Croft in a quiet corner. I walked over, my voice gentle as I made my plea. Olivia, can we please talk? The two of them, interrupted, shot me annoyed glances. Olivia smiled warmly at Ethan. Ethan, excuse me for a moment. Of course, he nodded. We walked over to a large window. Olivia crossed her arms, her face an icy mask as she stared out at the city lights, refusing to look at me. Olivia, don't just give me the silent treatment, I said softly. Tell me what you want. Hit me, yell at me, anything, she replied without emotion. If I told you that for the divorce, I want you to walk away with nothing, would you agree? Yes, absolutely. As long as you forgive me, I'll agree to anything. I didn't hesitate for a second. To hesitate would be to doom myself to hell. Good heavens, I could go back to being a corporate drone. It was infinitely better than being a blacklisted, disgraced construction worker. Olivia turned to me, her eyes wide with shock. After a moment of silence, she added, and if I said I also wanted the last painting your sister ever made, would you give it to me? A painting? I quickly searched my memory of the novel. Kyle had a sister who loved to paint. She had met and befriended Olivia, who also painted, in a university art class. During her senior year, Kyle's sister was diagnosed with stomach cancer and passed away shortly after. Before she died, she painted one last piece, The Angels Fight. Olivia had helped her paint it. Yes, yes, of course. You and my sister painted it together. It means more to you than anyone. I agreed instantly. Who are you? Olivia stared at me, her gaze so intense it felt like she was trying to see into my soul. She finally asked the question. I may have been wearing Kyle Jensen's face, but my personality was a world away from his. The real Kyle was cold, aloof, and pathologically proud. He would never grovel. I, on the other hand, was a laid-back guy who had no problem eating humble pie. Olivia had been deeply in love with him. How could she not notice that the man she loved had changed? I cleared my throat, putting on a serious expression. People change, Olivia. Just like I changed when success and money blinded me. I went from a man who adored you to a cold, selfish bastard who took everything you gave for granted. I continued, my voice thick with emotion, but in that moment, when we lost the baby, I felt this gut-wrenching pain. I woke up. I realized that all the money and success in the world means nothing compared to the person you love, compared to your family. I truly know I was wrong, Olivia. I hope you can forgive me. Whether you want to start over or get a divorce, I will respect your choice. I will never become that cold, selfish Kyle again. I looked at her, my face a canvas of sincerity and remorse. Olivia turned back to the window, her eyes downcast, her expression a mix of conflict and pain. After a long moment, she spoke in a tired voice. I'll give you my answer tonight. Okay, I whispered. It seemed there was a chance I could be forgiven. Just then, Amber walked over. I knew it. This venomous side character wouldn't stay quiet for long. Olivia, she began, her voice dripping with fake remorse. I was wrong yesterday. I cost you your child. Can I apologize? I will never forgive you. Olivia spat, her voice filled with hatred for the woman who had caused her so much pain. Amber produced a beautiful jade bracelet. To show you how sorry I am, I brought my family's heirloom. Please, let me put it on you. As this seemingly harmless flower started to approach, I quickly pulled Olivia back, shielding her. Stay back, I warned. This bracelet was no heirloom. It was a cheap fake worth a few $100s. Her plan was to get close to Olivia, accidentally drop and shatter the bracelet, then collapse on the floor and accuse Olivia of pushing her. In the original novel, Kyle defended Amber through the whole ordeal, believing every word she said and joining in on tormenting Olivia. It wasn't until Leo showed up and announced Olivia's identity that Kyle's legs gave out from under him. Amber looked wounded. I just want to give your wife a gift to ask for her forgiveness. Is that so wrong? Reading about her act was nauseating enough. Seeing it in person made me want to puke. Ms. Vance, that was a life. You think a cheap bracelet makes that okay? I suggest you stay far away from us, or you're going to regret it. Seeing her humble act wasn't working, Amber dropped the pretense. With a grimace, she smashed the jade bracelet on the floor. Crack! Then, she promptly sat down on the ground. The ballroom fell silent as all eyes turned to us. Amber sat there, clutching one side of her face and sobbing. Kyle, I know the bracelet wasn't expensive, but it was a heartfelt gift for your wife. You can't just attack me because you think it's cheap. As suspicious glances were thrown my way, I calmly scanned the room. An event this important, with guests this prominent, had to have security cameras. Yes, there they were. Thank God. Otherwise, this novel would be too ridiculous to bear. Amber, did you hit your head on the way in? Or are you just so desperate you'll try anything? There are cameras everywhere. You think people will believe I hit you just because you say so? Do you think every successful person here tonight is as stupid as you are? That they'll believe anything you say? Amber looked up, her hand still on her face. She saw the cameras, and her confidence wavered, but she quickly doubled down. So what if there are cameras? You think a low-life CEO like you has the authority to review the security footage? I was done with this shameless, idiotic woman. I pulled out my phone. It's clear you were born without a brain. Fine. If you think I can't see the footage, I'll just call the police. They can come investigate. I'm sure they have the authority. No, don't. Amber scrambled to her feet. I just fell on my own. I wasn't going to let her off that easily. I wanted to see her reputation ruined. But at that moment, Olivia's brother, Leo Lawson, made his entrance. As the CEO of Lawson Industries, everyone knew him, and all attention immediately shifted in his direction. Olivia pushed my hand off her shoulder, her expression cold, and walked back to Ethan's side. Leo stood on the stage. After a brief thank you to the guests, his gaze fell on Olivia. And now, I'd like to invite my sister, Olivia Lawson, to the stage to announce our new corporate partners. As applause filled the room, Olivia gracefully walked to the stage. She was breathtaking, a radiant figure who commanded everyone's attention. Amber stared in disbelief. What? Olivia Lawson is a billionaire's daughter? How is that possible? From a stage, Leo shot her a look so cold it could freeze bone. Ms. Vance, is there a problem? Do you think we don't look alike? Or do you need us to get a DNA test for your viewing pleasure? Amber shivered, her gaze darting to me. No, it's just, why would a billionaire's daughter marry some obscure CEO and do his laundry and cook for him? Now I was offended. Amber, just how little do you think of people? I'm obscure. How prominent are you? Amber was speechless. She looked to her date for support, but the man quickly melted back into the crowd, pretending not to know her. Smart guy. He knew when to cut his losses. Next, Olivia announced the list of partner companies. As expected, my company, Jensen Innovations, was on the list. But my heart sank. I knew this was Olivia's revenge. She was offering a partnership on a massive development project that the city government had never actually approved. It was a trap designed to make Kyle go bankrupt and face legal charges. The original Kyle, arrogant and blinded by greed, thought Leo Lawson was partnering with him out of respect for his talent, despite what he'd done to his sister. He got even cockier, a classic fool rushing towards his doom. Whatever. When the time comes, I just won't sign the contract. After the partnership announcement, Leo took out his phone, his eyes fixed on Amber with a murderous glare. I want the Vance family bankrupt in 3 minutes, he said into the phone, his voice laced with cold fury. Reason? Amber Vance caused my sister's miscarriage. Mr. Lawson, I'm sorry. I didn't know she was your sister. Amber dropped to her knees, begging. And even if she wasn't my sister, Leo retorted, you think you can just assault a woman and cause her to lose her child? What do you think a human life is? Mr. Lawson, I'm truly sorry. Amber knocked her head on the floor. I didn't know she was pregnant. I'll never do it again. Security, get her out of here. Amber was dragged out of the gala, a wailing, disheveled mess. Olivia Lawson, Kyle Jensen, she screamed, her face streaked with tears and mascara. You've ruined me. I'll drag you both down to hell with me. That night, Olivia came back to our place with me. We sat across from each other on the sofa. She handed me divorce papers. I opened them. She wanted nothing. She was leaving with only her personal belongings and the painting. Have you really forgiven me, Olivia? I asked, uncertain. Please don't let this be the prelude to my ultimate destruction. Olivia looked down, her face etched with pain. Time will never erase the hurt you caused me. But, seeing that you are sincerely trying to change, I can forgive you this once. Okay. I nodded and signed the papers. After I signed, Olivia collected her sister-in-law's painting and left. She walked out of the home where she had given everything and received only scars in return. Son, I'm so sorry. I didn't know she was a billionaire's daughter. If I had known, I wouldn't have dared to lay a finger on her. Not for anything. Brenda, who had been hiding in her room, emerged to apologize. Her intestines were twisted with regret now that she knew the daughter-in-law she despised was one of the wealthiest women in the world. I had been the one to tell her Olivia's identity and warned her to stay in her room. Otherwise, according to the novel, when Olivia came to discuss the divorce, this monster-in-law would have started another screaming match, even hitting her. She would have tried to stop Olivia from taking the painting, and in the struggle, torn it. It would have been another ugly, painful scene. I sighed. Go watch some TV shows about horrible mothers-in-law. Maybe you'll realize how wrong you were. She was used to my rebukes by now. She was fuming, but had nothing to say. She couldn't win an argument against me. The next day, Olivia and I finalized our divorce at the city courthouse. As we walked out, an unspoken sadness hung between us. For me, it was because I had been thrown into the life of a married man, spent all my time cleaning up his emotional wreckage, and now it was finally over. It felt like I'd actually lived through a real marriage, only to part ways with a beautiful, kind wife and become a divorce. It was a raw deal. For Olivia, it was mostly a sense of release. Even though I had repented on Kyle's behalf, a late apology is worth less than dirt. A woman who has her eyes open won't bet on the same losing horse twice. Goodbye, I said, making a final farewell. I stuck my left hand in my pocket and scratched the back of my head with my right. I hope you find someone who sees only you. You're not Kyle Jensen, Olivia stated, looking straight at me with an expression of certainty. It doesn't matter anymore. I dropped my hand, neither confirming nor denying. My phone rang. I answered it. Listening to the report from the other end, a wide grin spread across my face. That snake. She finally walked into the trap. Trap. Olivia looked at me, curious. I knew Amber wouldn't let it go. I had someone tailing her. They got evidence of her hiring thugs to kidnap you. She'd already bought a ticket for a cargo ship out of the country. The plan was to demand $1 billion from me and Ethan, get the wire transfer, and then disappear overseas. You, Olivia stared at me, her beautiful almond-shaped eyes fixed on mine. Consider it. My final apology to you and the baby, I said softly. Goodbye. Olivia nodded and turned to leave. On the busy street, we walked in opposite directions, melting back into the crowd, disappearing from each other's worlds. I sold the company and the house. I bought a nice 3-bedroom condo and deposited nearly $100 million in the bank. Then I found a relaxed, 9-to-5 job and settled into a quiet, peaceful life. Kyle's mother was no longer obsessed with a life of luxury and status. She spent her days doing Tai Chi in the park with other seniors. She even met a nice widower with a good pension, and they started dating. One day, while scrolling through my social media feed, I saw a video of Olivia and Ethan's wedding. They looked stunning together, a perfect match. I found my own true love, too. Her name was Chloe, and she was a sweet, adorable girl, kind and a little bit naive. I met her when she was being scammed by someone pretending to be an injured old woman. I stepped in to help, and to thank me, she asked for my number so she could treat me to dinner. One thing led to another. Chloe decided she liked me and confessed her feelings. I was honest with her and told her I was divorced. She didn't mind. That made me like her even more, and I agreed to date her. We've been together for a while now, and it's been a sweet, easy romance. She's a jewelry designer at a very famous firm. One Saturday afternoon, we were having lunch together. Kai, she said, using the cute nickname she'd given me, a sweet smile on her face. I invited my brother and sister-in-law to have dinner with us tonight. Meeting the family already. Okay, great. I nodded. I wasn't worried. I was in good shape, tall, handsome, and had $100 million in the bank. A fact I was saving a surprise for when we got more serious. I knew she was with me for my personality. She didn't care that my current job only paid about $3,000 a month. That evening, we arrived at the restaurant. Chloe's brother and his wife hadn't arrived yet. I sat next to her, looking at the menu, but my mind was racing. What do they like to eat? Any allergies? What are their hobbies? What should I talk to them about? Oh, right. What do they do for a living? Since I was meeting the family, I wanted to be prepared. Relax. My brother and sister-in-law are really nice. I'm not nervous, just asking. Chloe, is this your boyfriend? A shocked voice called out. I turned my head and froze. I was speechless. My jaw was on the floor. It was Olivia and Ethan. An oblivious Chloe got up and linked arms with her brother, beaming. Big bro, sis, I want you to meet my boyfriend, Kyle Jensen. She turned back to me. Kai, this is my brother, Ethan Croft, and this is my sister-in-law, Olivia Lawson. Wait, why do you have different last names? I asked, trying to process the impossible. Oh, my brother took my dad's last name, and I took my mom's. Hey, why do you all look so weird? Weird was an understatement. The three of us, me, Ethan, and Olivia, just stared at each other, trapped in a triangle of disbelief. I had thought I'd escaped into a normal life, completely detached from their world of unimaginable wealth. But it seemed the world of this trashy novel wasn't done with me yet. I had somehow started dating the male lead sister, a character who didn't even exist in the original book.